How about them Tigers, folks? People starting to doubt Matt McMahon. There he goes, just continuing to prove. In all seriousness, guys, welcome to this Tuesday night, February 18th, 2025, SEC basketball reaction. I am your head college basketball analyst here, Dave Shumate, bringing you this reaction. Hey, before we get started, let's talk about our proud title sponsor, FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet, folks. Again, appreciate you joining us tonight. 3 games to break down. We kind of got off that midweek bye, no one was on a midweek bye last week. We had 5 on Tuesday, 3 on Wednesday. This time we're splitting it up. 3 tonight, 3 tomorrow. A couple teams on buys, guys. Well, let's get first to it. Let's get right to it. The big one from the evening, the Mississippi State Bulldogs getting the 70-54 win. This was really the name to fame game of the night. This was that big one. Obviously, Mississippi State improves to 19-7, 7-6 overall. Texas A&M 20-6 now. They dropped 20-6, 9-4 league play, fighting for one of those top 4 spots in the league. Same with Mississippi State. I mean, technically now only 2 games back from A&M, have a tiebreaker, but still A&M really a lot more in that top 4 race than Mississippi State was. But Mississippi State absolutely due to win a big game at home. I mean, dropped one to Kentucky. Missouri got after them. Florida kind of got after them. They dropped a close one to Alabama. And that was 4 straight at home. I mean, again, outside of really losing to like Alabama and Auburn and probably Florida this year, and again, 2 out of those 4 straight losses were to those teams, Florida and Alabama. Legitimate national title contenders. I get that. But teams like Kentucky this year and Missouri, and again, Missouri may have played the best of anyone this year at the hump that went in there and won. Just totally got after them from start to finish. But Mississippi State, point being, they needed a big home win. They got it tonight. 70-54. 54 point. I mean, that's what scares about the Ags at times. But Mississippi State shot 43% from the field, 36% from beyond the arc, 35% from the Ags from the field, 34% from beyond the arc. Not a massive free throw disparity. 13 for A&M, 20 for Mississippi State, so +7 for Mississippi State. A&M won the rebounding battle by 7. They were +7, the Ags. 19 turnovers for Texas A&M, 11 for Mississippi State. Neither is great. Again, you always kind of want to be in single digits, depending on what kind of style you play. But 19, no matter how you work out your math, it's not good, especially on the road. That's a recipe for disaster right there. 19 points, and Mississippi State turned that into 22 points. And again, this was a 16-point win. That had was it the only thing? No, but it was a massive reason why Mississippi State got the home win tonight. Points of the paint, 22-18. Fouls, 17-15. Not a big separation. State's largest lead was 18. Again, this was points off turnovers. Mississippi State, Texas A&M going on the road. A place like Mississippi State building some momentum off an Ole Miss win. These are 2 big back-to-back wins for Chris James and them, where it felt like for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, nothing could go right. They were a little banged up. They couldn't close it out at home. Were no shows at home, like I mentioned with that Missouri game. Glad to see them getting their feet right. Again, they were starting to get in that little, and they still are right now, that 7 to 10 seed range. After about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I was talking about them maybe be anywhere from the 2 to 4 range. So they're kind of getting their momentum back, their feet back underneath them right now. So that's big if you're a Mississippi State fan, if you're Chris James and the boys right there. For Mississippi State, 25 for Josh Hubbard, 6 for 10, 3 for 6 from beyond the arc, 10 points for R.J. Melendez. Outside of that, nobody really – I mean, you had Cam Matthews, 5, Michael Nwoko, 2, Riley Kugel, 2. Again, this wasn't a high-scoring affair, guys. I mean, we really just broke over. We got 70-54. This wasn't a high-scoring affair. 15 points from Claudio Harris. He made some big plays down the stretch. You saw Chris Jans come in, like, throw elbows, and it's just – he was fired up about that performance. 50% from the field tonight from Claudio Harris, 4 from 8 from the arc. Played really well along with 4 boards and 2 steals. So you love Claudio Harris's energy tonight. For A&M, it really comes down to it. 35% from the field, 34% from beyond the arc, 61% from the free throw line. I mean, shot poorly across the board, 54 points. 13 from Zurich Phelps, 11 from Wade Taylor. Not a very productive night for either one, though. Phelps 0 from beyond the arc, and really no production off the bench outside of C.J. Wilcher was kind of keeping him in it for a little bit. 3 for 4 from beyond the arc. Saw a little bit of flashing of how he was in non-conference play. So fired up to see that overall from C.J. Wilcher off the bench in a very lackluster performance offensively for Texas A&M, though. But Mississippi State, this wasn't too surprising. A&M came in winning what? What was it? Was it about 7 straight? Let's see. let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight. It's tough to go on a long winning streak in this league, especially when you got to go on the road. It's a team that has some momentum after sweeping the big rival Ole Miss on Saturday. Not shocking. State due to get a big home win. They got it done. A&M was due to play bad. So, I mean, I'm really not shocked here. What's coming up next? I usually lead off the winner, but we're already on A&M's schedule. They host Tennessee early. Tip off on ESPN, 11 a.m. Central. That's a big one. Again, top 4 battle there again. A&M now really fighting for a top 4 spot, sitting there at 9-4. Matt, it's one of the bigger games of the day, and it's early at Reed Arena for Mississippi State. They go on the road to Oklahoma, a team that's really struggling. Again, only won 3 conference games, one of the 3 teams that came into league play undefeated. They've really just been reeling since. So another opportunity for Mississippi State before they head to Tuscaloosa next midweek. So Mississippi State, again, that's the big story of the night. Finally getting that big home win is probably the big story of the night when you think of Tuesday night, February 18th of SEC basketball. That's it. Mississippi State finally got it done. But again, nothing to panic. If I'm an A&M fan, if I'm Buzz Williams, you've won 5 straight in this league. It's tough to – I mean, Auburn, Alabama are the only teams who've really gone on longer streak. So let that be said from that perspective there. But Mississippi State getting a big road win. Big home win against Texas A&M. It's about time they got one. Florida, the Gators getting the 85-63 win. Really dominated this game from start to finish, if we want to be completely honest here, boys and girls. I mean, what's there to say? Florida's really peaking right now, and I had Alabama number 2 in my power rankings this week. Almost off of what Florida they just kind of got a little extra juice to them now, man. I don't know. It's just the energy's there. They kind of feel like right now they know themselves a little bit better. And that's just from yesterday. So, again, I'm not going to change it. But, again, performances like this, that's why you do like Florida as a Final Four team, man. You really do. 45% from the field tonight for the Gators, 37%, 0.5%. Let's run that up to 38% from beyond the arc. Shot 23 free throws. Oklahoma shot 38% from beyond the arc, 38% from the field, 35% from beyond the arc, 27 rebounds, not much differential in the rebounds, 35-36, turnovers, 13. You go double-digit turnovers on the road usually is not a good sign. I mean, Florida got this lead up to 29 points. This was a 22-point lead at half. This game was really never close, folks. I mean, really not close at all. 28 points in the paint for Florida. Just really not a lot overall. I mean, Florida's just playing really well, and Oklahoma's kind of just hit that wall, man. It's kind of wild how far they've gone down. 3 starters for Florida in double figures. Walter Clayton with 18. Will Richard with 14. Ruben Chinenlu with 11. Alex Condon was out tonight. Micah Handleglatten back. Maybe like to see it. 2 boards. 5 boards, 2 points. Like to see that. Urban Calzavar, 10 points. 14 points for Elijah Martin. If he can get healthy, that's probably my biggest concern. We were on a segment today, and Chris Phillips asked me what was my biggest concern for Florida. It's like probably defense, but once we got off the segment, I was probably like, probably Elijah Martin's health, honestly. Wish I could re-answer that question. So I would say that Elijah Martin's health is probably my biggest concern for Florida heading in. But there's really not a lot to take from this game, guys. It's pure domination. Florida's sitting pretty, improved to 23-3, 10-3 in league play, 1 game back from Alabama, 2 games back from Auburn, but they do hold the tiebreaker over Auburn. And Alabama lost to Auburn on Saturday. That was a good weekend for Florida. Get Alabama to lose another game. They still get to play Alabama in 2 weeks in Tuscaloosa, 2 weeks from tomorrow, actually. So, again, Florida not out of the SEC race. Not out of it just yet. Oklahoma drops to 16-10, 3 for 10 from beyond the arc. Just not a lot going for him right now. I mean, Jeremiah Fears, 22 points, 7 for 15 from the field, 4 from 8 from beyond the arc, 11 points, Jalen Moore. Just get really nothing from the bench. I mean, Kobe Elvis was all right, 6 points. Then you get 2 from Fredson Cole. Muhammad Wagee gives you 2. And Dayton Forsyth. I mean, I don't know. People have figured out you can get a lot of points in the paint against this team. It's not Sam Godwin's fault and Muhammad Wagee's fault. They have to play the minutes that they're being played. It's just not, personnel-wise, it's not great. I don't think Porter Moser is bad. They got to just invest more in that roster. I mean, they're playing about as bad as anyone not named South Carolina right now, and I think that's fair. I mean, people want to talk about LSU being that 15th team. It may end up being Oklahoma. But what is next for the Florida Gators? They head to LSU next on Saturday for a big one at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Next two should be very winnable for Florida, at LSU and at Florida. But again, no easy games in the league. What is up next for the Sooners? We mentioned it. Mississippi State comes to town here in just a bit, and they go to Kentucky and at Ole Miss. I think Oklahoma's left for dead right now, and I'm leaving them. I mean, 3 conference wins, you got to at least get to 7-11 would get them in for going undefeated in league play. Remember, this is a team with a non-conference win over a Michigan team who is currently in first place in the Big Ten right now, folks. Let that sink in. A team probably playing about 15th in this league right now, beat non-conference play. Again, one game, it's basketball, anything can happen, but beat the Big Ten leader right now. It's just amazing how they just nosedived. It's really never looked great at any point in non-conference. in conference play, really. That one, South Carolina at home probably would be at. But again, maybe A&M at home, they barely lost. Who knows? They've just gone downhill since then. But what is next, folks? The LSU Fighting Tigers. Don't look now, folks, getting the 81-70. What was it? Sorry, it went out of 81-67 win over South Carolina. We thought this was going to be the battle of some really bad teams, but it ended up, LSU's better than Oklahoma right now. We saw it again. They probably shouldn't have beat Oklahoma, but they did, and they're playing better. It's 2 straight wins. Don't look now, folks. And I think Cam Carter, again, they said it on the TV broadcast. I think they're 100% right. Cam Carter's having one of the more underrated performances that's not talked about because LSU's not very good and the league's just loaded. But again, LSU shoots 50% from the field, 43% from beyond the arc. South Carolina, 47% from the field, 36% from beyond the arc. Rebounding, South Carolina won that. They were +4. Turnovers, 18-10. South Carolina at 18, LSU 10. 8, again, 8, it's just like A&M. You go on the road, turnover 18, 19 times, like South Carolina did. You're not going to win on the road. You're just not. And points off turnovers, 23-7. There you go. Big difference. And LSU shot really well tonight. 50% from the field, 43% from beyond the arc from that standpoint. Let's look ahead here to LSU. 17 points, like I mentioned. Cam Carter, 7 for 14, 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. Victorious Miller, 12 points, 13 points for Mike Williams off the bench. LSU got a lot of people in tonight. At the whole Matt McMahon thing, what are you going to say? I think you got to invest in the roster. Again, do I think Matt McMahon's a bad coach from going back to his Murray State days? No. But again, I think men's basketball is probably the 4th most important sport in Baton Rouge right now. I think it's football, baseball, women's basketball. You pay Kim Mulkey, $3 million Scott Woodward does? And then Matt McMahon, you got to invest in this roster now. Look at everybody else in this league. They invest in personnel. Look at even Arkansas. They didn't bring a lot of them in, but they invested a lot in them. That's it. That's the cover to get into the club, folks. You have to pay that to even be competitive. That's where it starts. It's not really Matt McMahon. And again, Matt McMahon has his own issues. 3 years in a row that they hadn't really. Some people may say they competed for the NCAA tournament bid last year, but I don't think so. And then you got a guy like Mark Byington who comes in first year from JMU at Vandy. Didn't take over a great situation that Jerry Stackhouse left and is going to make the NCAA tournament most likely. So I get it from both sides, but it starts with the personnel, and you have to have the money in all the sports now, especially basketball and football. And now with everybody, the league being so good and people investing money in this league, let's don't look at Matt McMahon first. Let's look at what we're investing in this roster and the league being so hard to navigate. But again, I understand the frustration too. It could be better. Again, most things probably aren't black and white, folks. Somewhere in the middle. But for South Carolina, Lamont Paris, do they go defeated, folks? Do they go defeated? We'll look at their schedule here in a minute. 23 points for Jamari Thomas, 16 for Kylie Murray-Boyles. That was about it. That's about it, guys. 6 points from Nick Pringle, 0 from Zach Davis, 7 from Jacoby Wright. I just think this team has hit a wall and they've checked out. And I get it. In today's era, I hate saying this, but people start looking out for number 1. That's how humans are. And especially they're not making postseason. They're 10-16, 0-13 now with 5 games left and 6 games left in the SEC tournament in Nashville. There's really nothing to play for. They're getting their ducks in a row for after college or maybe to enter in the portal. I hate to say that for the Gamecock fans listening, but it is a spade. I don't really think it's a Lamont Paris thing. Again, you got to invest in the roster, very similar to LSU. But what is next for the Tigers? They host Florida for a big opportunity here. Big opportunity for LSU. 3-10, 14-12. Can they get hot down the stretch? I don't think so, but host Florida. For South Carolina, can they go defeated? The race to defeated for the Gamecocks. Let's not only feed you who they play on Saturday, they host Texas, but then they go at Missouri, probably a loss. Arkansas could win, but how interested are the Gamecocks? Georgia at home could certainly win. How interested are the Gamecocks? And then at Tennessee, probably a loss. Do they go defeated? I mean, they could beat Texas, Arkansas, and Georgia at home. I don't think they're winning at Missouri or at Tennessee. So they got to get one of those three of Texas at home, Arkansas at home, or Georgia at home. I'm going to say, I mean, the more losses you keep accumulating, the more they're probably actually going to quit. I'm going to say no. I think they're going to go defeated. We're going to be talking who was the worst defeated team, the 2025 South Carolina basketball team or the 2024 Missouri team who went defeated as well, folks. But, guys, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because FanDuel is your home for NBA live betting. So even if you miss the first few minutes of the game or want to bet on the fourth quarter comeback, you can make your picks from the first whistle until the final buzzer. Plus, you can even combine your live bets in the same game parlay for a shot at a bigger bet payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New FanDuel customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Disclaimer: must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with the Kansas Star, or 18 and older and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.ma or ma.org. Call 800-727-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. But folks, for your college basketball host, Dave Shumate, I will see you folks again tomorrow night. We got a good lineup coming for you across the board tomorrow. Leading us off, Vanderbilt at Kentucky at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then Alabama at Missouri, and I think the best game of the midweek slate. Big top 4 game for Missouri. I think if Bama can go 4-2 down the stretch, they'll lock up a 1 seed before Nashville. This will be a big one for both teams here. Arkansas at Auburn. That'll be another big one. Cal heading to the Plains to beat the undisputed #1 team in the country, guys. But again, guys, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night after the reaction. Big one for Mississippi State. Finally got it done. Story of the night. But for Dave Shumate, hope you have a wonderful Wednesday tomorrow, folks. You have a great night.